Good evening. On the news tonight, NANS forwards Peace Corps bill to Buhari for assent. 6,800 children suffer violations in Northeast, UNICEF. We are ready for Saturday's election rerun, INEC. Also, aviation workers to begin nationwide warning strike on Monday. Going on to the sports story, Osimhen Chukwueze, a list of 5 Nigerian players in line for big monetary award. For updates of our broadcast on YouTube, the handle is BGI TV Current. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell, select option all to access our broadcast. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. I am Morire Rebila Lawal. Now the news in detail. The National Assembly has forwarded to President Muhammadu Buhari for assent the harmonized version of the bill on Nigerian Peace Corps. This was after passage by both the Senate and the House of Representatives. Transmission of the bill for the presidential assent by the clerk to the National Assembly, Sani Tambuwa, as gathered for the news agency of Nigeria, NAN, was done this week through a letter written to that effect. The letter, according to an authoritative source in the National Assembly on Thursday, written on the letterhead of the CNA, was dated April 12th and directly addressed to President Muhammadu Buhari. 3 copies of the authenticated copies of the bills, the source added, were forwarded to President for assent, one of which is expected to be retained by him, and the other 2 sent back to the National Assembly for further action. In line with the provisions of the 1999 Constitution, President Buhari is expected to assent to the bill on or before May 11th, when 30 days window given for such important action must have been exported. The bill, if assented to, the existing Peace Corps of Nigeria that had been operating on template of voluntarism over the years will now be federal government owned and funded agency in the name of Nigeria Peace Corps. On April 12, 2022, the bill passed 3rd reading after Sadiq Umar, chairman of the Senate Committee on Interior, presented a report. The bill is being sponsored by Ali Undume, senator representing Borno North. While presenting the report on the floor of the Senate on Tuesday, Umar said his committee received hundreds of memorandums from stakeholders who are supporting the passage of the legislation. To the next story from the North. The United Nations Children's Fund says over 6,800 children living in the Northeast have been subjected to grave violations of their rights. In a press release on Friday, UNICEF representative in Nigeria, Christian Mundet, lamented the brutal consequences of conflict on children 9 years after 276 schoolgirls were abducted in Chibok and 96 girls still in captivity. She noted that the impact of the conflict on education is alarming, with repercussions likely to affect generations, stressing its devastating reality. She added that the recent abduction of 80 children in Zamfara State reinforced the urgent need for action to protect children in Nigeria. She said the statistics are disturbing. The reality is devastating. It has been 9 years since the horrendous abduction of the Chibok girls, yet the nightmare continues as children are still being kidnapped, forcibly recruited, killed and injured, their futures torn away. We cannot turn a blind eye to the sufferings of Nigerian children. We must do everything in our power to ensure they grow up in safety with access to education and quality opportunities to fulfill their potentials as being. Going for the INEC rerun election coming up tomorrow. The Independent National Electoral Commission INEC says it has distributed materials for Saturday's election rerun in 6 local government areas of Zamfara. Its resident electoral commissioner in Zamfara State, Saidu Ahmed, stated these at a stakeholders meeting on Thursday in Gusau. He said the election was for Zamfara Central Senatorial District and 2 House of Representative seats for Gusau/Afe and Gumi Bukuyum federal constituencies. Mr. Ahmed said the rerun of the senatorial election would be held in Gusau, Maru, Bungudu, Gumi, Afe and Bukuyum local government areas. The electoral commissioner explained that the election will be held in 19 polling units in 24 registration areas of 6 local government areas. According to him, the 90 polling units have 95,332 registered voters, of which 90,900 collected their permanent voters card. Mr. Ahmed appealed to politicians and the media to encourage the electorate to turn out and cast their vote on time to conclude the process at the right time. Moving on to the next story. Aviation Workers Union will embark on a 2-day nationwide warning strike from Monday over the alleged failure to implement the conditions of service agreement between the union and some aviation agencies. This is contained in a statement by officials of the National Union of Air Transport Employees, the Air Transport Service Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, the Association of Nigerian Aviation Professionals, the National Association of Aircraft Pilots and Engineers, and the Amalgamated Union of Public Corporations Civil Service Technical and Recreation Services. The union noted an indefinite strike would ensure after 2-day warning strike if the demand were not met. Our unions issued a 14-day ultimatum to the Honorable Minister of Aviation and Specific Aviation Parastatals on February 7th over non-implementation of minimum wage, consequential adjustment, and arrears for the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMAT's refusal of the Income and Wages Commission, and Office of the Head of Service of the Federation to release the renewed and reviewed condition of service of Nigerian Air Space Management Agency, NAMA, Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, and Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, said the unions. The statement added, also planned demolition exercise of aviation agency buildings in Lagos by the Minister of Aviation for an airport city project that has been strongly resisted by our union. But the ministry remains adamant, so we are commencing the warning strike. And to the next story. The Director General, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDEN, Olawale Fasoya, has said that over 2 million businesses in nano, micro, and small and medium enterprises sub-sector died between 2017 and 2021 alone, pushing more than 6 million Nigerians into unemployment market. He said the death of the businesses was largely caused by insecurity that had denied farmers access to their farms, inadequate access to affordable funds, high cost of doing business, inflation, and lack of access to local, regional, and global markets, among others. He made this known at the opening ceremony of the Cluster Empowerment Program on Share Butter, organized by the agency in collaboration with the Niger State government, which was held in Minna, the state's capital. Represented by Professor Fisher Yinka of the Partnership and Coordination Department of the agency, Mr. Fasoye said the Cluster Empowerment Initiative was aimed at reinvigorating the rural enterprises and mainstream them into the formal sector and to cushion the effect of the economic downturn on NMSMEs to the country. The Director General of Niger State Commodity and Export Production Council, Fatima Wushishi, said the state produces 196,000 tons of shea butter annually of the 500,000 tons produced annually in West Africa, lamenting that the opportunities in the shea butter businesses had not been properly enhanced in the country. From Niger State, we go to the next story. Nigeria is working to meet Tuesday's deadline for submission of applications for the second phase of malaria vaccine being coordinated by the World Health Organization, WHO. Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer, CEO, National Primary Health Care Development Agency, Faisal Shuaib, spoke yesterday against the backdrop of news that Ghana had become the first country in the world to approve use of a new malaria vaccine from Oxford University for children under the age of 3. The vaccine, known as R21/Matrix-M, the organization boasts in an interview with the Nation in Abuja, explained that Nigeria is among the few countries qualified for the second phase of applications for the malaria vaccine, known as RTS-S/AS01. He said that the federal government was not only working to ensure that the country has access to the malaria vaccines, but to other life-saving vaccines such as human papillomavirus, HPV, and typhoid fever vaccines, which will soon become a part of Nigeria's routine immunization program. And to the next story. Islamic State's West African province, ISWA, is preparing to use drones for attacks in the Lake Chad Basin, according to the Institute for Security Studies (ISS), in an attempt to strike undetected. The unmanned aerial vehicles (UAVs) will fly improvised explosive device (IEDs) to targeted locations in Nigeria and neighboring countries. The ISS noted that the Nigerian military had inflicted losses on Boko Haram factions Jamaatul al-Sunnah Lidawat al-Jihad (JAS) and ISWAP, forcing the latter to re-strategize. The research, comprising analysis of propaganda materials and interviews with former combatants and associates, shows an elaborate use of communication technology. These include satellite phones, drones, social media, high-speed printers, laptops, cameras, Wi-Fi, clip-on microphones, walkie-talkie, and data compression and archiving software. The research found that the tools are used by ISWAP's media team, led by Abba Yusuf, aka Abu Rumaisa, son of the late Boko Haram founder Mohammed Yusuf. Former fighters who volunteered information recalled how staff were recruited from within the sect and taught how to position themselves and take photos and videos during attack. And to the next story. One, Mr. Shodade Sesson has attempted to kill a commercial motorcyclist, otherwise known as Okada rider, in an attempt to steal his bike. The 40-year-old man was said to have slit the neck of the Okada rider, thrown him by the road, and made away with his motorcycle. The commandant of Amotekun Corps in Ogun State, David Akiremi, said the incident happened on April 4th at about 10 a.m. According to him, the bike rider, Mohammed Bashiru, was stopped by the suspect around Anglican Church, Remo North local government area of Ogun State, while riding his 4,500 watt Bajaj Boxer motorcycle registered as SGM 220WA. The bike rider, who was in search of passengers, was stopped by Sesson, who pretended to be one. Akiremi disclosed that the duo had an agreement of 800 naira to convey Sesson to and fro Iperu. He said the suspect discovered at Iperu that his initial destination was not suitable to carry out his evil intention, so he asked the complainant to proceed to the Abuja Bar area in Ilishon, Remo. At this junction, the suspect saw that the area was lonely and suddenly brought out a sharp knife from his pocket while on motion. He slit the right side of the victim's neck, pushed him off, and snapped the motorcycle to an unknown destination, the Amotekun boss said. Information learned that the victim cheated death as he was later taken to the Ogere Medical Center, where he was treated and discharged. Speaking further, Akiremi informed correspondent that the suspect removed the number plate of the motorcycle and dumped same in a latrine in his residence. He was said to have taken the stolen motorcycle to a burial ground at Kende Avenue, Ishara Remo. Painstaking intelligence by Amotekun operatives was said to have led to Sesson's arrest and the recovery of the missing bike at the time he was searching for prospective buyers. From that story, we go to the foreign story. Former U.S. President Donald Trump returned to New York to answer questions under oath on Thursday in a $250 million business fraud lawsuit brought against him by the state attorney general. Donald Trump spent nearly 7 hours answering questions in the lawsuit that accuses him and 3 of his children of fraud, according to his lawyer, New York Times reports. This development follows the former president's historic indictment in an unrelated criminal case regarding Porsche payment to adult actress Stormy Daniels. New York Attorney General Letitia James had accused the former president, Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, and Ivanka Trump of lying to tax authorities, lenders, and issuers for years as part of an incredible fraud at the Trump Organization. To end the world news is a sports story. Top team around Europe are already lining up players that they will sign in the number and summer to boost their team ahead of the challenges of next season, particularly teams who are going to be involved in European Championship (OGN) reports. Also, players who they sense are wanted by other teams will be their focus as they aim to beat other competitors. Such is the story of the 5 Nigerian players who will be the focus of this report by OGN Editor-in-Chief Mohammed Mowi Suleiman. Victor Osimhen, on the verge of powering Napoli to their first league title since 90s. His performance hasn't gone unnoticed by top teams around Europe. Bayern Munich is said to be the favorite for his signature, but it will take a fee of around 120 million euros to prize him from the soon-to-be Serie A champions. Samuel Chukwueze, it will be in the last final year of his contract at the end of the season, and with no talks of an extension, he is likely to be on his way out of the team. Enjoying his most prolific season ever, with 13 goals and 11 assists, his deal has a buyout clause of 80 million euros, and for teams like Napoli, AC Milan, who have been credited with interest in signing him, a fee in the region of 60 million euros is seen as something that Villarreal won't reject considering his contract situation. Victor Boniface, currently the joint top scorer in the Europa League with 6 goals alongside Marcus Rashford, the 22-year-old who has seen up 7 league goals for Union Saint-Gilloise, is on the radar of a host of teams in Europe. A fee in excess of 30 to 35 million euros is what his team, I believe, is worth. Gift Urban at Gent is seen as one of the best pieces of business they have done in recent times. Signed from Norwegian side Stebak for 3 million euros. The speed with which he has settled down and his new surroundings has alerted top teams in Europe. The back-to-back player of the winner of the Belgian Player League Month of the Award with 14 goals in 13 games since February. A fee of around 40 million euros is what his Belgian side are hoping it will fetch them. For Larry Balogun, the on-loan Arsenal forward, is yet to be confirmed as a player who is keen on playing for Nigeria as he mulls over continuing with England or switching to the US. His form at League One side Reims, where he is a top scorer in the league with 19 goals, has made it hard for Arsenal to keep hold of him, especially as he is not sure of the regular game time. A move set to appeal his camp, and RB Leipzig, the team, which credited to be heavily keen on him, will pay a fee around 50 million euros to land him ahead of other suitors. That ends the World News this hour from BGI TV. Before we go, some major headlines. NAS forwards Peace Corps bill to Buhari for accents. 6,800 children suffers violations in Northeast, WHO, UNICEF. We are ready for Saturday's election rerun, INEC speaks. And lastly, Chukwueze, Osimhen, in list of 5 Nigerian players in line for big monetary move. For more updates on YouTube, our handle is BGI TV Current. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell, select option all to access our broadcast. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen for advert placements only. Thank you for watching. I am Morire Rebila Lawa. Good evening.